Welcome everybody to another Sunday episode of the COVID Crisis Comeback Challenge Sunday Alumni Mastermind. Yes, it's another Sunday. Can you believe how quickly these weeks go by? It seems like just last night we were doing last Sunday and now we're back. Time does fly when you're having fun. So I hope you all had fun this week. I did. As you know, this program is brought to you by my little company, Integrated Wellness and Development, LLC, and it is for the purpose of education and inspiration and perspiration and, personal development. We do not attempt to or intend to diagnose, treat, or prevent any illnesses or conditions. We recommend that you consult your primary care physician or a licensed practitioner if you are having any conditions that would require some professional help. Some people say, I need some professional help, and that still is up for grabs. So, in the meantime, what we're here tonight is to take a look at this topic, which I'm excited about, and it's about looking into the power of productive decision making, right? So much of this program, so much of the Goal Achievement Mastery Journal, so much about the materials that I present in these Sunday masterminds, and so much of the material that you will be moving on to for those who choose to in the Your 9 Steps program for Goal Achievement Mastery is about taking back the power in your life to make good decisions that will help you set and achieve the goals that are in your heart's desire, whether they be personal, professional, health, relationship goals, all kinds of goals. But they all come down to first us making decisions. So I'm going to go through tonight some key principles for productive decision making. We can make all kinds of decisions, but for productive decision making, okay, decisions that are going to actually help you move towards your goals, move towards the kind of life you want to live, it's important to keep these key things in mind. So everybody have a pen, pencil, stone tablet, chisel, something to record with. Okay. All right, then we're going to get started. All right, so here's the first one we want to talk about, this first principle, okay? Remember the true power of making decisions, okay? When we make a decision, we take charge, we become cause in our life. We take a very active role in participating in our destiny. Okay, so anytime we make any kind of decision, do not take that lightly. Do not take that process lightly. It is a very powerful thing to make a choice and make a decision and hopefully follow through with it. Okay, so become aware of, celebrate, focus on, and be aware of the power of making a decision. Okay, so that's the first one. Any questions on that? Is that pretty clear? It's really honoring the power of making a decision and its results in your life, and honoring yourself for committing to make a decision and move forward with it. So that's the first principle I wanted to share with you tonight. Second principle. Don't forget principle number 1. Okay, that's not quite it, but second principle, make decisions often, okay? This isn't just a one-time thing, right? We don't just say, okay, I'm going to set this one goal, I'm setting it tonight, and then that's it. I'm going to wait until it happens, I'm not going to do anything else. We make decisions, we want to make them often. We want to make them every day because we're making decisions unconsciously every day, all day long. We want to excuse me, we want to start making these decisions consciously, and we want to develop this muscle of decision making to where it becomes very strong and it becomes automatic almost, right? We can rely on it, we can trust it. And the more decisions we make and follow through with, the stronger we get, right? And this is really important. I think we can all relate to times when we are wishy-washy about our decision making, or we're very much effect of other people's decision making, or we just, we're not really used to committing and making a decision. When my younger son was younger, he really needed to eat right away when he was hungry. And we were at a conference, a seminar, and you know how a bunch of people get together and they decide they're going to have dinner together, right? And like you only have an hour or an hour and a half to have dinner. And then it becomes a 27-hour process of, so where should we go? Oh, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Oh, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Oh, I don't know. Well, there's this really great restaurant over there. Oh, what kind of food is it? Well, I can't eat that food. Well, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Right? So my poor son, his blood sugar got so low, we just said, sorry, we got to go. And at that point, he made the decision. If you want me to come to these events, we do not go out to dinner with anybody else, because we know that I need to get food in me. We're going to make a decision to go somewhere, and we're going to go alone, and we're going to get a table, and we're going to order, and we're going to eat, and it's going to be fast, right? So we've all been in that situation, but do you all see how that situation can be transposed to lots and lots and lots of other decisions in our life, where it's just natural for us to say, I don't really want to commit. I don't want to be the one to make the decision. Well, in our lives, we're the ones who have to be the ones to make the decisions. There's nobody else going to do that for us. If we allow other people to do that for us all of the time, we are going to become dependent. And that's a whole nother discussion about that stuff that we're not going to talk about tonight. But become aware of when we are giving our power away to other people because we don't want the responsibility of making a decision and sticking to it. It's our responsibility to do that. And when we do that, we will have more control over our life, and we will develop that muscle of decision making to where it's no longer going to be wishy-washy. It's no longer going to be, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know. No, we understand who we are. We understand what our goals are very clearly. We have understood through the process of working with the Goal Achievement Mastery Journal and working with this program, our masterminds, we understand the power of very clearly seeing these are the things I need to do in order to achieve my goal, and I'm going to knock them down one at a time. I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do this one. And the more we make decisions, the faster we approach our goals, and the faster we achieve the kind of life that we want to achieve. Right? Yes? Yes or yes? Yes. Good. I'm glad you agree with me. I'm glad I agree with me. That doesn't always happen. All right. So that's number 2. Make decisions, make them often. Number 3, learn from your decisions. Okay? Not every decision we make is going to turn out the way we had planned. Okay, raise your hand if every decision you've ever made turned out perfectly. No. Raise your hand. We have a group of very, very honest people, or their arms are too tired to raise up, but that's okay. So, as the Rolling Stones said, you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And if a decision doesn't work out for us, it's still a win. Why is it still a win? Who has an answer for that? Why is it still a win? It didn't work out the way we planned. Why is it a win? Samarit, and by the way, welcome Samarit and Joan and Emily and Don. Samarit.
If it doesn't work out, I learn from it.
Boom.
And it's a win.
Boom, still a win. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we can learn from a decision we make that didn't turn out the way we planned, we learn several things. Number one, it might not be the best decision for that situation, or our plan isn't the right plan, or it's just not time yet. But our win is we learn something. Like Edison learned 101 things not to do to make a light bulb's filament work, right? He learned something. And this is really important. Don't be afraid to make a decision out of fear it might not work out, that it might be a mistake, because that's how we learn. And if we are hungry for wisdom, if we are hungry to achieve more in our life, then we need to be willing to do whatever it takes. And part of whatever it takes is to make mistakes. And mistakes are good because it shows we're trying and we're learning. The people who are not making mistakes are not trying. So that's one of the questions I ask when I'm doing coaching with people is, so how many mistakes did you make this week? And if they kind of look at the ground and they don't raise their hand, they don't say anything, I'd say, you didn't make any mistakes this week? No, I didn't. So would you lock yourself in your room all week? Well, what was going on? Try things, make a decision to do something, and accept that sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but we always win because we're learning something. Okay. So we want to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? And what's the positive about this, right? When things don't work out, we tend to usually look at the negative and we tend to feel bad. But if we turn that around and say, okay, what did I learn from it? And number two, what's the positive thing I can look into this and see? Because that begins to train the brain, okay, that reptilian part of the brain, the fight or flight, the run away from pain, run towards pleasure part of our brain. It begins to train that trying new things and them not working out is a good thing. Don't be afraid of that. Don't cringe. Don't try to hide when faced with a decision. Make a decision. Okay, number 4. Stay committed to your decisions, but be flexible in your approach. Okay? This enters into that realm of the marriage between personal choice and divine will, right? This is part of that partnership between us and life, between us and the force. If we set a goal and we're making decisions on what to do and how to act, and we are focused on that and we commit to it, and I'm going to do it and I'm heading in this direction. But if life says, you know what, this is a better direction, if you continue the way you're going, you're going to hit a brick wall. If you make a slight right turn, it's open highway. Okay. We need to be aware of that. We need to be flexible, and we need to have this partnership with life to be able to use our ability to go with the flow and see opportunities that might be better than our original choice, right? And this is important. Many times in my life, I had a goal to achieve something, and I thought this was the way, right? This was the way. And then life brought in this, and this was much better than this. And I had made a commitment to myself that I will always trust when an opportunity is brought to me. I will always trust that this opportunity is good for me, and I will find a way of making that opportunity work for me, because it wouldn't be put in my path unless I had something to learn from it. Whether it worked out or not, it doesn't matter, right? I was willing to go with the flow, but I'm committed always that when somebody gives me an opportunity to move forward, I'm going to find a way of making that work. Okay. So stay committed, but be flexible in your approach. Once again, There's no such thing as failure. There are only results. There are either results that turned out the way you had planned, or results that turned out a way you hadn't planned on, but it's still all good. We're still learning. We're still growing. It's still positive, right? Okay, and then the fifth one is, it's important to condition ourselves to enjoy the process of making decisions. By us enjoying each opportunity when there's a decision to be made, and we get ourselves all pumped up with positive energy, we get ourselves all excited about it, right? That's how we're going to condition our brain and our mind that, oh, a decision isn't something to be afraid of and procrastinate and run away out of fear of making the wrong one. It's about, no, I'm looking and analyzing the situation. I see what are my choices, and I attempt to make the best choice based on what I know and what I feel and the evidence in front of me. And then I enjoy making that decision and going for the ride, right? We need to enjoy making decision and go for the ride and enjoy where it takes us. Because in the end, no matter where it takes us, we're learning, we're knowing, and we're growing. Okay, going to stop there. Any questions, comments, bad jokes, anything that you want to contribute as a result of what we just shared, because what we shared is extremely powerful. I hope you recognize the power behind this. Welcome, Jojo. Okay, question, comment. Any of this makes sense? Mark?
Yeah, I wonder if you can give us an example of, based on the number 2, decisions that might be unconscious that we want to make more conscious.
Well, I think, that's a good application of the journal, right? Because if you're using our journal, right, and we're looking at the things to do and things not to do, things that support our goals and things that sabotage, if we start to see patterns, right, we start to see patterns in things that have been standing in the way and we've been letting it happen, right? That's an opportunity when we finally make the choice to say, you know what, I'm stopping this, right? I'm stopping wasting my time with this person or with this thing that I've been doing. And I've been doing it not because it's really, beneficial, but it's because I've always done it, or I don't want to, hurt somebody's feelings, or I don't want to, look weird. It shows up when we start to see why we continue to do things that stand in the way of us achieving our goals and are counterproductive. So, look at the journal and look at things that come up frequently, right? And see, wow, I made, Mark, a recurring decision we may have that's subtle is not making a decision. Not making a decision is making a decision to not decide, and that's a decision. It's a hidden, sneaky form of procrastination, and it all comes out of fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, remember, when we're afraid, that doesn't mean we're sissies. We're afraid because there's a part of us that is trying to protect us. There's a part of us that instinctively and as a reflex is reacting to a situation and saying, let's go ostrich on this thing here. Let's hide. Just hide from this thing, right? I don't want to make a decision. It's too scary, right? So we decide not to decide, and that procrastination is a decision. Deciding not to act is making a decision not to act.
And that reminds me, Mike, what I think a lot of people are finding, and people I'm speaking to and in my own life as well, is distraction is one of those ways that people are hiding from making decisions,
Sure.
Facebook, YouTube, watching too much television, whatever it is that we're doing that takes us away from what we should be doing.
You're absolutely right, Mark. And part of that is there is sometimes a confusion or sometimes an illusion that lots of activity equals productive action. They are not the same. You could do 30% less things in a day, but if they are carefully chosen productive actions, right? 3 of those productive actions are worth 100 activities that make us look busy. And this, you'll see this a lot in companies when they start to measure the performance of their workers, and especially people who are paid by the hour. And there was a lot of overtime. When we did analysis of what people were doing, when we actually followed them around and watched what they were doing and had them keep timesheets, we found that they really confused busy work with productive work, right? They just felt out, I'm gonna plan to do 100 things today. I've got 100 things on my to-do list because I'm a busy guy. 100 things, and they start doing all of these busy work things, and at the end of the day they're exhausted, but I checked them off. I did those 100 things. But when we sat down to analyze how productive were those things, how closely were they associated with you actually fulfilling your responsibilities to achieving the results that you are paid to do, it was nowhere near. The busy work they were doing, they had very little to do with what they needed to do to get more done. So that's why by working with the journal and by developing productive habits, productive thinking, productive decision making, we can get more done by doing less because we're wasting less time, right? And you brought up some really important points, Mark. We all use social media, and we all use it for important things, but it's easy to get carried away into checking it every 10 seconds, right? Because what happens is social media has been designed to be electronic cocaine, okay? What happens when people start to use a drug is it creates an effect in the brain. It creates a release of dopamine, okay? And the brain gets all kinds of pleasure, and the brain says, this is wonderful. I love it. I want more of it, right? So suddenly the brain says, oh, why don't you check Facebook again? Because when I check Facebook and somebody liked what I said, somebody liked my post, or somebody friended me or accepted my friend, it's a rush of dopamine into the brain, and the brain says, do that more because I like it. I like this feeling, right? And we start doing these things more and more and more, thinking, well, it's important that I keep in touch with my potential customers and blah 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 blah. So I've got to check that thing every 2 seconds, right? So we need to be honest and be clear about what is it we're doing, why are we doing it, how does it connect with our goals, right? When should we be doing it and when should we not be doing it, right? These are very important and honest questions we need to ask ourselves. And if we do that, we're going to see that we are becoming more efficient, and that decision-making muscle is getting stronger and stronger, but it's making decisions based on what is productive, not what is busy work, right? And this is important to practice. I think we talked about this maybe last week or the week before, and that is, practice making decisions, little decisions, and practice, following that inner guidance, right? Those are 2 things that you can really develop your muscles with, and that's, just When you're driving down the road, people who drive to the same place over and over again do that on automatic pilot. You start the car, you move the car, and 20 minutes later, you're already there and you don't know, how the heck did I get there? I don't remember making that left turn, stopping at that stop time, right? I don't remember any of that because we're on automatic pilot. We'll stop the automatic pilot, turn it off. And for the next few days, be really conscious about getting to the stop sign. And if you normally turn right, turn left and see what happens. Make the decision to turn left and see what happens. See what happens externally, see what happens internally, and become aware of the adventure. Become aware of the adventure of going left instead of right, Or instead of going left at the stop sign, go right. I had a friend who she decided she did not like making left-hand turns at an intersection. It scared her. So she just decided from now on, I don't make left-hand turns anymore. I plan my route so it's all right-hand turns. And that was it. She drove, either it was going straight or she was making right-hand turns. And that's how she planned her routes, and that's how she lived her life, right? But we don't want to do that. We don't want to be afraid. If a left-hand turn is more efficient and has a better experience for us, we want to be able to practice making good left turns, not avoid them. That's a decision, right? When you're going down the grocery store, if you follow that same route, right? I come in, I'm going to go to the right, and then I follow along the wall, and I make sure I get my milk first and my eggs first and my produce and then the bread, and you follow this same robotic route because it's convenient, right? It's logical. But what if tomorrow you say, hey, you know what? When I go into that grocery store, I'm turning left and I'm going to work that list backwards. See what happens when you do that. There's a sense of empowerment, adventure, and you might run into somebody you really needed to run into. It might be an interesting encounter. But what's really happening that you can count on is you're becoming more conscious and more cause and more comfortable making decisions that are new, different, and not falling into the rut of doing the same old thing, right? Make sense? Mark, did that answer your question?
It was an excellent answer. Thank you very much. Great.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Who else? Yes, Samrit.
What Mark brought up reminded me of this experience I had today, where I had made a choice yesterday that somehow didn't really sit well with me. So it was a low under the surface irritant. And I decided I have to work with it. I have to work with it. So I sat with it and realized that it was the end choice of 5 different occasions where I unconsciously made a decision dictated by not wanting a person to be mad at me. I kind of maneuvered so that I see who, first of all, who was the person I viewed as most powerful and what was likely to make him or her mad, and I would do the opposite. And I saw the pattern. And so that to me was an example of an unconscious choice that kept repeating itself. And then the fact that I made the wrong decision yesterday, but had the sensitivity or the awareness, then it allowed me to uncover a bigger pattern and meet in the boardroom and hopefully begin to make a plan begin to make a plan. It's, you read these books and then you read people who say, and once I saw the pattern, then all of a sudden, I stopped doing it. And I don't know that that's true for me, but I am committed to watching the pattern. And like you said, turn left instead of the habitual right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what came up for me.
Well, that's a great point, Summereed, and you're actually describing the next level of the brain, right? So, you know, we have that reptilian part, right? And then we have this conscious brain, which developed after the reptilian brain, right? And it was designed to help us become a part of a social group, right? And so it's the part of the brain that would measure and compare the things that we do to make sure we are fitting in with the group, that we're supporting the group, that we are liked by the group, accepted by the group, because that was survival at another level. You know, it's a higher form of survival than the fight or flight, you know, run away from the dinosaur before it eats you. It's now, oh, but I will survive by doing the things that fit in with what everybody else is doing and allows me to be accepted socially, right? And you see that manifesting deeply when we're young and when we are faced with peer pressure, when we're in school and we face cliques and we face, you know, these social groups, and we are trying like crazy to do and be what needs to happen in order to be accepted by these other people, these communities of people, right? To the point where we can lose ourselves. We can actually, you know, let go of the great things that we are to try to fit in with these other people. And it isn't until we become a lot more mature that we realize it wasn't worth it, right? It wasn't worth changing who you are just to be liked by other people. We want to be noticed and respected for who we are, right? We don't want to do things just out of the desire to have other people like us. And we wind up not being true to ourselves of who we are and what our goals are. So that's why sometimes being an entrepreneur, sometimes being someone who's obsessed positively with achieving their goals can seem like it's a lonely thing, you know, because you really are breaking away from the crowd. The crowd tends to just want to do what the crowd always does, and it's afraid to do anything different. And when they see people who are going off in a different new direction, it's threatening, right? Just like, you know, if you hung out with the same people and everybody smoked, and finally you decide, you know what, I'm taking control of my life, my health. I'm not going to smoke anymore. That is so threatening to that group that they will do everything possible to say, hey, just have one with us, you know. Or if you've given up drinking, you know, there's that group of people, oh, come on, just have one. What's the matter? You think you're better than us? You know, you could have just one. Come on, right? Do you see that? Do you see that out there? How, you know, there can be this pull to try to get us to be like everybody else and do like what everybody else. So it takes courage to understand that, yes, it's important to fit in. It's important to do things that allow us to interact in harmony with other people, right? We want to make sure that we get along, but we never want to sacrifice being who we truly are just to please people. People pleasers never really get anywhere, right? They get that dopamine rush of feeling like they're liked. Remember, you know, Sally Fields at the Academy Awards ceremony. You like me, you really like me, right? Well, you know, that's great that they really liked her, but she was talented before, during, and after people recognized and voted for her and liked her, right? You don't have to like me for me to be effective at what I do. I don't need to be liked. I need to be respected, but I will earn that respect by producing results, right? I'll earn your respect by producing results. I don't expect you're going to come here every Sunday and like me if I don't produce some results for you. So that's what I'm focused on. And that's what we want to be focused on in our lives, right? Who else? Question, comment, discovery. Roshi!
I have a question for you. Is that okay to have a different decision in different period of your life, and their decision be completely opposite? And sometimes you choose to be a job, to be a study or something that now you choose to be or study something completely opposite the one you study, and not continue that one and go to the other one, another one, and another one. I was thinking what I am doing with different field of activity, this, and not any related to each other. Then I was thinking, well, it was great at the time that I decided to do that. Maybe that time was okay, but now because I have been changed, my decision for future and making the future will be changed too. Am I right? Or I'm making a right decision when I do another job and another thing that I didn't do in the past?
So, yeah, so Roshi, you know, at the beginning of the journal, the first few pages of the journal, we go through that. What is it that you want, right? Why do you want that? How are you going to go about getting that? Who are the people that are going to help you, right? And you take a look at, if I'm going to make this decision to do something completely different, why do I want to do that? Are you doing it just because you want to change, or because you really feel passionate about the different direction? Or are you doing it like a lot of young people do, just to rebel against your parents, right? Is that why you're doing it? Only you can decide why you're doing what you are planning on doing. Also, you are responsible to make sure that while you are changing the direction, that you can still support yourself and still be responsible for yourself, right? The magic goal fairy isn't going to come, you know, and put your new life under your pillow when you wake up in the morning. It's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to us to make sure that we're still taking care of ourselves while we're heading in the new direction. It's not going to happen by magic, right? Do you understand what I'm saying, Roshi? Yeah, so be clear about what is it you want. Why do you want that? What is it fulfilling inside of you? What is the call in your heart that this is answering? And how are you going to do that? How are you going to make a plan to achieve that, right? And can you support yourself? Can you continue to be responsible for yourself while you make that shift, right? Then if the answer to all of those things is clear to you, well, then you use this process we are giving you through the journal and through these classes to create a plan and create a road to your new decision, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, you know, I really didn't answer the question. I didn't say, yes, it's okay to do that, because that's not my place.
I don't
it's
want
not my
it
place to say that, you know.
Yeah, I don't want a yes and no. I just want it's okay to different field, to go to the different field, because you learn different things, because
Sure.
We change all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. We may have made the, I mean, I change. If you look at my resume, you think I had multiple personalities, you know, because I've gone in so many different directions, but something out of each thing that I did built on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And because of all of those different things I chose to do, or chose me, I'm able to do what I'm doing now with you, right? So the adventure led to me gathering up lots of skills, lots of tools, and lots of confidence, and in order to be able to serve at the level that I'm serving and want to serve now.
Thank you.
Okay. Good question. Don, how you doing over there? You good? All right. Just checking in.
Oh, I just, if I could just throw something in.
I'm ready.
Okay. Now, this is just kind of like a big win. I just have to say that I was at an event yesterday where Samarit gave a presentation at her art show. It was a reception.
Yay.
It was really a culmination of an amazing amount of work and preparation. And it's amazing to see someone when they're like in their element, you know, and they're just like cruising and just kind of following their bliss. You know, who was it who said that? It was like Joseph Campbell, I think, the famous mythology guy, who says, you know, you're talking about making decisions, and one of his sayings was, well, you should go after the thing that really trips your trigger, that really lights your fire, that you just have this great passion about it. And when you were doing that, you were doing the greatest service to everybody around you and to yourself, because it's like you're in sync with your heart's desire. So, you know, the process of making decisions is sometimes, you know, we have to be really practical about, well, you know, I'd like to be a rock star, but yeah, I need a paycheck. Yeah, I have to pay rent until it's discovered that, you know, I'm a music genius or whatever. But it was an amazing thing to see, and I just I had to send a shout out to my wife, because
Yep. Well, congrats, Samarit, and yeah, we're all in awe and very much appreciative of the incredible journey Samarit has been on, and the beautiful progress she's been making. And but you know, it wasn't something that just happened a day ago or a week ago. It's years of honing her skills, years of developing her art, years of developing the ability to communicate with others, right? So following your bliss is an important thing, but having a plan with measurable goals and measurable direction, and knowing, you know, how to execute it, and still being able to support yourself and take care of your responsibilities, those are all important things, right? We can follow our bliss, but don't expect the gold fairy to put it under your pillow. We have to create the plan and do the work and set things up in order for that to happen. Good. Well, happy decision making this week. Have fun with that. Think about it. Be real conscious about it, and be courageous. You know, be courageous. Take the chance. Do the things that are not easy and comfortable. They always cause us to grow when we do that. Don't be afraid to make decisions. Don't be afraid to set goals. Don't be afraid to try new things. You know. All right. Great night tonight. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. I am so proud of you all. The stories I keep hearing about what you're doing are just amazing. And I hope you're proud of yourself, because you're doing really amazing things. And just keep going. Just keep trying. Just keep growing. All right?
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great week. We will see you next week.